so long it's like alchemy.
Kyrie to Boston. Kyrie to Boston. All right, I'm sure all of you at this point have already, heard all the hot takes and, had some time to think about this trade. I had to sleep on it, and it was, I'm not going to lie, I was shocked. Now, to me, I've always subscribed to the rule of you do not trade a star player to a rival. Really, you try to take them out of the conference, right? But to your biggest rival within the conference, I thought was a bold move, and I think will end up being a mistake. So first off, I want to take a look at, how Isaiah fits with Cleveland. Now, both with Isaiah and Kyrie, there's a bit of smoke and mirrors as far as their value goes. Both of them are such spectacular players in the fashion that they get things done that I think it kind of overhypes their actual value. Don't get me wrong, both of them are star players. But with Isaiah, with his size, everything he does just seems to be more spectacular, right? And it kind of fools the average fan into believing he's greater than he really is. Likewise with Kyrie, stylistically, aesthetically, it doesn't get any better than the way Kyrie gets his buckets. But what I think will be a problem in Cleveland is, and Kyrie probably didn't get enough credit for. Now, I know that I saw that, the numbers with Kyrie shot more shots than LeBron, but it's not always about the shots. It's about handling the ball, especially with a guy like Kyrie. Everything is based off his dribble. His handle is where he finds his rhythm. He's not a catch and shoot guy. And so what he did incredibly well was basically stay in rhythm throughout a game no matter what. And when his number was called, he'd get them buckets probably better than anybody in the league. Now, Isaiah's a great bucket maker, right? But the difference was in Boston is he had the ball all the time. He was able to dribble and stay in rhythm throughout games, being much more ball dominant. And I think Isaiah is going to struggle in Cleveland, playing second fiddle to LeBron. He's going to get his shots. LeBron's going to get him his shots. They're just going to come a little bit differently, and he's going to have to find his rhythm without dribbling as much as he did in Boston. I don't think that's something he can do as well as Kyrie did. Second off, what's going to be very interesting is just the team chemistry. Now, Isaiah Thomas goes way back with Kevin Love. They played AAU ball together, so they already, have a relationship, and that should be cool. But being, I kind of relate Isaiah Thomas to Chris Paul. Now, they're not the same player, but they have the same demeanor in a sense as they're going to have the Napoleon complex, right? And they kind of use that for their advantage for the most part, right? They play with that chip on their shoulder, and they're alphas. So LeBron's passive aggressiveness and kind of bow to the king mentality, I don't know how well that will play with Isaiah. Kyrie did well to just kind of passively play it off. And it'll be very interesting to see because I have no doubt that he's going to have to handle things differently. The subtweeting and the passive-aggressive social media way that LeBron likes to communicate with his teammates when there is conflict, I don't think it's going to fly as well with Isaiah Thomas or Jae Crowder. Jae Crowder's a nice player. They're going to fit him in. He fits today's switch everything defense, plays the 3-4, right? And he's a soldier, right? He's going to come in right away and play hard. My question with Crowder is come, late in the playoffs, let's say they're playing in June, how much of Jae Crowder are you going to get? His playing style doesn't lend itself to longevity. So my concern would be his health playing deep into the playoffs as well as Isaiah's. And I think that's part of the reason why Boston was willing to ship him out. Going over to the Boston side of the ball, or I should say trade, the rule of thumb, right? Whichever team gets the better player wins the trade. I don't subscribe to that theory all the time. They did give up the draft pick. But if you're paying attention, Brooklyn quietly, looks like they may be respectable. We'll see, if ice in his veins, D'Angelo Russell can lead them to plus 20 wins. We'll see. Either way, the draft pick may not be as high as you think. Another point with that draft pick is, and why I think LeBron is as good as gone, let's say they get the number 1 pick and they get some 19-year-old kid who will be a beast potentially 3 years down the road. LeBron's clock is ticking. He doesn't have that time to wait for a player to mature and help him win another championship. So that's why I feel like the draft pick, that's great for the Cleveland organization, but it's almost as if the writing is on the wall that LeBron already packing his bags to Los Angeles. Back to Boston. So the thing that hurts Boston in this trade is, and it didn't all happen in this trade, they lost all the emotional and vocal leaders that were on this team the last few years. You look at Isaiah Thomas, Jae Crowder, and Avery Bradley in the previous move. The one guy left that was kind of, rev the engine was Marcus Smart, right? But he did it in spurts. He wasn't, he did it coming off the bench a lot of the times. And so there's no doubt the talent is there. You've got essentially a big three, in Gordon Hayward, Kyrie, and Al Horford. But all three of them, they don't scream leader to me, especially vocally. Gordon Hayward by default was the leader in Utah, but I don't, it wasn't a natural role for him. Horford, absolutely not a leader. He's a nice soldier. So Kyrie, you've got what you asked for. Now it's going to be interesting at 25 years old to see him. Are you going to be the vocal and emotional leader that this young Boston team needs moving forward? I do think he will flourish because we're really going to see him for the first time ever in a true system. Brad Stevenson, the hype is real. He is a legit star coach, and he's going to maximize Kyrie's talents. The question is the depth, and this is why I place Boston ahead of Cleveland. Because people are questioning, obviously, these young players in Jaylen Brown and Tatum, Marcus Smart, not so young anymore, but they're going to have to step up. Watching Jaylen Brown in Summer League, I think he's ready to take that leap. Physically, he's already there, but I think he flipped the switch mentally, and he understands that he has a physical advantage on most nights against most players, right? His confidence is built, and his shot is coming around. So I think what you're going to see with Boston, ultimately, I'm not worried about starting and this, that. Their quote-unquote death lineup, right? Their small ball lineup to finish games will be Al Horford at the 5, Jaylen Brown at the 4, Gordon Hayward at the 3, Marcus Smart at the 2, and Kyrie at the head running the point. And I feel like that's enough to beat Cleveland. I do not like this aging Cleveland team. Bringing in Derrick Rose, perhaps D-Wade. D-Wade is 35 years old, y'all. So, that hasn't even happened yet. But I'm not sure about this, man. The turmoil in Cleveland, the hangover of the finals. And let's not forget, Isaiah's coming off hip surgery, right? So unlike Vegas and the consensus media, I think Boston should be the favorite coming out of the East. Looking at this from the perspective as a Warrior fans, I know y'all, know who I'm talking to here. This is my channel. I know what y'all are thinking, right? For us Warrior fans, man, I think this is lovely. Man. So let's put this on like a scale here. 1 to 10. 10 being the best team you could be, right? Let's go ahead and be generous and put Cleveland at a 9 last season, right? Boston was at a 7, and that played out in their matchup, right? Cleveland handled business. So I think this knocks Cleveland down. I've stated my reasons, so let's knock Cleveland down to an 8. Let's elevate Boston with all their moves, adding Hayward, and, let's move them up to an 8, right? So now at this point, they're even. This is going to be a battle, not to mention the added juice of this rivalry. Can you imagine that this is going to be the biggest rivalry in basketball this season without a question? Never mind Warriors, Cavs, or whatever you want to look at. There may be Rockets, Spurs, and who knows what will immaturate throughout the season. But this with all this added juice and the playing field, the talent level kind of evening out. What do you think is going to happen in the presumed Eastern Conference Finals? These two are going to go to war in what most likely will be a 7-game series. Looking in the past at the trilogy of these finals, right? What was Cleveland's advantage? It was the fact that they cakewalked through the Eastern Conference essentially each season. So whether it be Boston or Cleveland that comes out of the Eastern Conference this year, Warriors fans, either one is going to be much more, you could say, battle-tested, or you could say worn out, right? Their juices and their focus will be on each other, rather than looking forward and kind of resting and preparing for the finals. So I think that this benefits the Warriors, as well as all NBA fans watching this new rivalry. Hit that like, share, and subscribe. I'm out, y'all.